So this is my first video of philosophy. I've done around 6 videos before of addiction experiments that I've done, but this will be my first try at philosophy. So I'm considering doing different videos about philosophical ideas of different topics. I have little to no formal education in philosophy itself or much else related to philosophy. I just have a basic education. But I have a huge personal interest in philosophy and generally trying to understand how things work and why things happen the way they do. So I've done a bunch of posts of writing on different topics. I've done like 130 different posts, mostly different topics. Out of that 130, 40, I think around 40 were about psychology and how the mind works, because that's my favorite subject, I think. And then I've also done 20 more specifically on consciousness, because that's probably my favorite subtopic of psychology. And then I've done about 20 posts on God, and then 20 on perspectives, which is kind of generally different perspectives that people can have and the relevance of perspectives on life. And then I've done 7 about principles and values. Besides those posts, since I've really gotten interested in these sort of ideas in philosophy, I've hosted meetups, which, if you don't know what they are, meetup.com is just a site where you can create any group and get random people to join online for whatever you want. There's also sports and games and stuff. But I've hosted around 50 discussion meetups. So I'd pick a topic and then get some random people to join, and then we talk about the topic, usually sort of related to philosophy. So besides all that, I find information and ideas a lot from YouTube. I usually watch YouTube every day, watching videos about science and how things work, and sort of some philosophical sort of videos. That's been my main method of learning for a while. So the focus of this is sort of an introduction to what I'm planning to do, and my sort of topic of this video is supposed to be philosophy itself. Philosophy, I don't know, it can have a lot of different interpretations of what that means, but personally I see it as a method of questioning and applying reason to understand different concepts or topics in everyday life. It's more topics which are vague and not measurable or distinct, like science handles. I sort of see philosophy as the step before science, where there's not enough facts or there's not enough known information about the cause and effect of some idea or concept. This is Wiley, my mascot. And this dog I'm just looking after for a couple days. So, I consider philosophy to be underrated and doesn't have enough credit, basically, because it seems to me like it's very applicable to so many things in life and so many questions which either you as an individual don't have answers to, or even humanity as a whole doesn't have answers to. Philosophy, I think of it as an effective method of considering possibilities and then further analyzing the probability of the most likely reasons or methods of which the concept functions of the question. And I think open-mindedness is a huge attribute which is valuable for attempting philosophy, and a very important value in general. I think you need to be open-minded in order to consider new possibilities for philosophy, since there is no answers, no specific known factual answers to the questions involved. Assuming that's your definition of philosophy, then that would be a requirement for it to be considered philosophy. So, being open-minded is kind of necessary to consider different aspects of different things you already know in your life, taking information that you know and applying it in a new way to this new question or this new idea. And then another huge part of philosophy, besides being open-minded, I think is using logic, as logic is quite likely the most effective method of determining what's the most likely answer or reasoning behind anything, any idea, any concept. I mean, without logic, you're kind of just guessing, choosing randomly, unless I'm missing something of another process. And to go along with logic and being open-minded, understanding concepts is a big part of it, I think. If you can understand a concept, you can understand the cause and effect of why something happens, and then you can take that cause and effect and then apply it to new ideas new possibilities and new questions. So, understanding concepts is almost, it's a method of using logic. It takes logic to understand concepts and apply concepts. And concepts in themselves are basically just understanding cause and effect of why something happens. If you can understand the cause and effect, then you can adjust the circumstances and the factors involved in the concept to make a better outcome for yourself, for whatever that concept is. And as I said, after the step of philosophy, then I think you you come up with a hypothesis, and then you see how it applies to different variables which are involved in the concept, or different experiences. And after that step, if your hypothesis becomes more proven, it's possible for the next step to be science, if enough facts are drawn and aspects of the idea or the hypothesis are measurable. So I think a lot of what we know to be science basically started as philosophy, because before you have enough facts, you're questioning something without a distinguished test for proving whether that's a real solution. And so in the past, everything that's we consider science now kind of had to use a method of philosophy to begin with, until there's enough facts and evidence that it could be tested by science. So I think philosophy is in general very, very significant in the world, and I think people don't tend to understand the term or the idea that well, or consider it to be that important. But really, it can help an individual to understand basically anything unknown with unspecific variables, you could say. And besides an individual, it obviously helps humanity understand things, concepts, and ideas in general, until it can be tested further with science and become science. So I think that's generally my perspective of philosophy. I plan to do more videos on different topics, more specific topics under the category of philosophy, or more specific categories as well. But this is just my first attempted intro video. So I hope that's understandable what I'm talking about. And we'll see how it goes from this point on.